There is love that is hidden. There is also love that shines even though it is never spoken. However, the love between Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo feels like a long, deep breath, silent, still, but suffocating because it is too beautiful to describe. Since they were brought together in the phenomenal drama The Untamed, millions of eyes have witnessed how two hearts slowly became one, as if the world conspired to bring them into an unwritten love story. But today, one truth has come to light. Xiao Zhan has opened his heart, and only one person can fill it perfectly, Wang Yibo. When the camera captures the small moments between them, the lingering glances, the melting smiles, and the brief hugs that feel too deep, fans realize there's more than just friendship. It's not just great acting, not just on-screen chemistry. It's something genuine. Xiao Zhan, with his warmth and sensitivity, always seems calm around Yibo. And Yibo, with his cool yet attentive manner, seemed to have found his home in Xiao Zhan's eyes. Even in interviews, when Wang Yibo's name was mentioned, Xiao Zhan's expression changed. There was a different sparkle in his eyes, as if beautiful memories were blooming behind his gaze. This wasn't just a working relationship. It wasn't just nostalgia. It is the emotional imprint left by someone who has carved a deep hole in his heart and filled it with love. It's not easy to maintain such a relationship under the spotlight, especially in China's conservative entertainment industry. But what's surprising is how Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo continue to find each other, even off camera, even when they're not always together in public, as if there's an invisible thread pulling them back to each other. There was a time when rumors kept swirling around them, and Wang Yibo chose not to deny them with words, but instead attended an event where Xiao Zhan was also present, sitting not far from him, giving a small nod and smiling. A gesture more powerful than 1,000 clarifications. Xiao Zhan, on the other hand, hinted through his songs, through his lyrics, through vague messages on Weibo, that someone always remained in his heart, and the fans knew exactly who that person was. What makes their love so touching is not just the quiet intimacy, but how they protect each other in silence. Xiao Zhan opens his heart not with loud declarations, but with his gentle way, giving space, showing care, and never truly stepping away. And Wang Yibo? He fills that empty space not with poetry, but with a steadfast presence, with small actions that hold great meaning, with protection that is never announced. There was a moment backstage when Yibo watched Xiao Zhan from afar. That gaze wasn't that of a colleague. It was the gaze of someone falling in love. And when Xiao Zhan smiled at him, a smile reserved for only one person in his life, everything seemed to fall silent. It was just the two of them in that world. They didn't say it outright. But love doesn't always need words. Since The Untamed ended, the signals have never faded. Every choice of clothing color, every ambiguous caption, every song selection, all seemed like codes that could only be read by two hearts that knew each other. Eager fans pieced together the puzzle pieces, and everything pointed to the same answer. They loved each other, even though the world didn't give permission. One sentence that left many speechless was when Xiao Zhan said in an interview, "Someone came into my life and changed my perspective on everything." Who else could it be but Wang Yibo? He entered her life like a storm, calm on the outside, but shattering every barrier in the heart that had been tightly closed all along. They don't need to hold hands in public. They don't need to say, "I love you," in front of the media. But every interaction, even when they're just in the same room, is enough to make the audience's hearts race. Because true love will always find its way. And love like that can't be hidden forever. Xiao Zhan, with all his sincerity and the wounds he had endured, finally opened that door. And Wang Yibo, who had remained silent and observant all along, had already prepared himself to enter, with a love that was gentle, respectful, and so profound it touched the soul. And often, the purest love is born from silence. Every time they stood on the same stage, even if only briefly, even without words, their aura always felt different. When the camera captured both of them in one frame, there was a kind of emotional vibration flowing between them. Not a fake or contrived vibration, but a connection born from a long journey, from knowing each other too deeply, to the point where no explanation was needed. Their love doesn't depend on verbal acknowledgement, because it has long spoken through the language of the soul. Even the most skeptical fans eventually surrender to the small clues that emerge from time to time. Clues that aren't in the form of rings or direct confessions, but in the way Yibo looks at Zhan when he laughs, in the way Zhan can't hide his smile when he hears Yibo's name mentioned. We feel their love through things that are not visible, through changes in mood, through moments of silence that speak louder than 1,000 words. And when two hearts speak without words, those who witness it can only sigh deeply, enchanted by the depth of their love. That's why many say their love is like an unfinished poem, constantly evolving, constantly touching, and never boring to read over and over again. They may not dare to challenge the world directly, but they challenge it by continuing to love in silence. Their love doesn't seek recognition, because such love can't be faked, and those who are truly sensitive will feel it. We, who have been observing from afar, have become witnesses to a love that doesn't need validation, because it's too real to ignore. They may never openly admit everything, but the world already knows. We've all seen it, felt it, and breathed it in together. Love that grows in silence. Love that is strong because of obstacles. Love that cannot be extinguished by time or distance. Xiao Zhan opened his heart, and Wang Yibo is the only one holding the key. And for us, who watch from afar, this is love that will always leave a mark. Love that leaves us speechless. Love that makes us say, it turns out, true love does exist. Now, after we've delved into so many signs, glances, and meaningful moments, what do you think about the love they share? Do you think Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo are just colleagues, or more than that? Two souls who found each other in silence? Share your thoughts in the comments section, because every word from you matters. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep following emotional love stories like this. Because behind the scenes, there's always a story, and perhaps the greatest love is the one that's never announced. See you in the next video.